This is Main Street with Gary Allen. Now, here's Gary.
Hey, everybody. Gary Allen with you here on Main Street. I hope you've had a wonderful time since the last time we got together. We've got a great show for you today, as well as a lot of great shows lined up in the future. I'll tell you a little bit about the gentleman that we have on today. His name is Tony Sands. He's a performer, a tribute artist, and a producer. He's produced a number of shows having to do with Frank Sinatra, tributes to Mr. Frank Sinatra, I should say. Sinatra the Musical, which is a wonderful show. That's Life with the six-piece band. It's another tribute to Frank Sinatra. The Rat Pack, Together Again, a great show with a great cast of young men portraying the different aspects of it as far as Frank, Sammy, and Dean are concerned, as well as Start Spreading the News, a show with Frank Sinatra and Liza Minnelli. You can find out more about Tony on TonySands.com, as well as on Facebook. So without further ado, let me introduce to you the fabulous Tony Sands. Tony, welcome to Main Street.
Good to be here, Gareth. Thanks for your invitation. I'm excited.
Absolutely. How's the weather up in Philly today?
Actually, I'm in Delaware. I live near Rehoboth Beach. I'm like 5 miles from Rehoboth Beach, and it's hot. It's probably close to 99. It's hot.
It's pretty warm here where I am in Palm Bay, which is just south of the Cape Canaveral.
Yeah.
It's pretty warm. As I said, you come from South Philadelphia, where a lot of great homegrown talent comes from there. Bobby Rydell, Frankie Avalon,
Fabian, Al Martino.
What's his name? Al Martino. And then, yes. And then, of course, the gentleman that I always forget, he was on TJ Hooker. He did a number of things. He also sang too. He just recently passed away. Really good looking young man. I can't remember his name right off. He was in Gidget. He played Moondoggie.
Bobby Darin. Is it Bobby Darin?
Bobby Darin. Yeah, Bobby Darin. Yeah. He
or James
I got
Darin.
to meet him once.
James Darin.
James Darin. Yes, thank you.
Philadelphia.
Thank you.
I mean, also, Mario Alonso was from Philadelphia.
Really? I didn't know that.
Mario Alonso. In fact, I went to his funeral when he passed away. I was a little kid.
By the way, you and I do have something in common. I'm
What's
from
that?
Wilkes-Barre originally.
Okay, yeah. Love it up there. Beautiful.
I'm from Wilkes-Barre, and I am a major Philadelphia Phillies baseball fan. And right now, I'm not happy. I am not a happy camper by any stretch of the imagination. That's for sure.
Well, I'm an Eagles fan.
So, you're a what fan?
Eagles fan. Well, you have that. We're Eagles. We're all Eagles.
Bobby Rydell had a jacket that was given to him by the Philadelphia Eagles, and he wore it every place. When we would perform in Las Vegas, he would wear that thing when we were rehearsals and stuff like that. He was unbelievable.
Nicest guy you want to meet.
Oh,
great guy, Bobby.
When he passed away, it took me a few days to get past it and everything. Now, I didn't know Frankie Avalon or any of the other guys. I just met the one, but,
Golden Boys.
Everybody from South Philadelphia. Yeah. Bobby was always nice to me. I have somewhere in my collection of stuff a certificate for Rydell High School. And a lot of people who know the movie Grease don't realize that was named after Bobby Rydell.
I didn't know that.
For those who out. Yeah, they named it after Bobby Rydell.
Interesting.
When did Frank Sinatra enter your life? Or let's put it this way. Were you thinking about show business before you got hooked on Frank Sinatra and his music and everything involved?
No, I got hooked I got hooked into his music when I was 11 years old. I wasn't thinking about show business. When I was 11, well, I come from an Italian family. My parents used to play mostly all Sinatra, Dean Martin, Andy Williams, but it was mostly, we had a lot of albums we had were all Sinatra. So I would, back in the day, put on an album, and at 11 years old, Sinatra was one of the greatest storytellers and singers that there were. He knew how to sing a song. And a lot of artists really they get great vocals, but they don't know how to tell a story. He knew how to tell a story in every song that he sang, whether it be his phrasing or just the way he sang the song. You knew what he was singing about. And at 11 years old, when Sinatra would come on, I would understand fully whether it was a love song or
Yeah.
whatever he was singing. I understood what he was singing about. So he wrote a book for me when he was singing.
Yeah, I liked Frank. I will tell you a quick story here in just a few minutes. But Tony Bennett also to me was one of those singers that could tell a story and the way he would phrase things and stuff.
Yeah,
Great singers can do that.
absolutely.
Quick story. I don't know if I told you this or not. I know the fans of the show have heard this story before, but at one time, I guess I was about 15 or 16 years old. On a Saturday, I went with my uncle down to the Fountain Blue Hotel. We lived in South Florida, and to go have lunch with some of my uncle's friends. I just thought it was the other comedians and show business people on Miami Beach back then, back in the late 60s. And we go to the Fountain Blue, we go to have lunch, and who's waiting for my uncle to say hello? Frank, Sammy, and Dean. Yeah, I mean,
Wow.
talk about an introduction. Yeah, my mom and dad were invited to have lunch, but they both turned it down. My father's favorite expression was, I wouldn't pay a quarter to see Christ ride a bicycle." And I often thought after my father's death, I wonder if you had a quarter on you when you got to the pearly gates at all, whether you did anything. They were so nice. Frank was so nice. Dean, I got to know very well. When I moved to LA, I got to go to his house quite a bit. I became friends with certain members of his family, not everyone, but certain members of his family. Um,
Now, what
what
was
was
the
the first
connection, Gary,
Sinatra
between
song?
your uncle and the guys?
My uncle was an entertainer. He was a comedian on Miami Beach forever and a day, and he was a blue comedian. And they would go and see him perform when they were in town. They weren't in town that much, believe it or not. Before Vegas hit it big time, um, Miami Beach was the place to go. There and possibly Atlantic City during certain times of the year. And they got to meet Tubby, and they became friends with Tubby. So when they would come into town, when I was way too young, they would have lunch with him or dinner with him or whatever the case may be. And then finally, he decided he was going to invite me one time, and he didn't say who we were having lunch with. I just figured it was some of his cronies, and there they were. And I was in awe.
Great story.
Tony, I just sat there. Yeah, I just sat there, and my mother wanted to kill Tubby later when she found out who he had lunch with. I mean,
Keeping it a
Sammy was
secret.
very cool. Huh?
He was keeping it a secret.
Yeah, he was. He didn't want anybody to know, and Dino he had hands. My God, they were the size of, I mean, huge hands. But he was a dealer back in Ohio, Steubenville,
Boxer
Ohio.
too, yeah.
But
He did a little boxing. He did a little
yeah,
boxing
he
too.
was. Yeah, and of course, Sammy was cool.
Greatest
I
entertainer,
always loved
Sammy
the way
Davis Jr.
Sammy's. Oh, do you know the only other entertainer that I thought that was even close to Sammy was Michael Jackson, as far as what he could do on stage and how he awed an
And well, just
audience and
one
how he
more
brought an
too,
audience
Garrett.
in.
Bobby Darin,
Yes. Okay. Yes. Bobby Darin. You're
singer,
absolutely right.
actor,
And
and musician. And that's what all three of the Samuels did all that.
question,
The only
since
thing that Bobby didn't do was
know a little.
tap dance. And Bobby's famous line was Sammy says, "That's one guy I don't want to follow." That's what Bobby Darin said.
Yeah. 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 What did Bobby pass away from? I've always wanted to know, and
He
I've never
had
bothered to look it up.
oh God, yeah. He had if you ever the movie was really good. Um he had some kind of breathing disorder. He
Hmm.
needed oxygen when he was, and he died at what, 35, 36 years old. And if
Yeah, he was very
we
young.
had the cure for it today, but if we had the cure for it then, he would, who knows, he might have still
Yeah.
been living. But he was
Yeah.
unbelievable. Mr.
Oh, yeah. He
Cool,
was. He was
Bobby Darin.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely, Mr. Cool. What was the first Frank Sinatra song that hit you and went, "Oh yeah, that guy's got it"?
great question. Um,
Yeah. Well,
I think
mine
it's
was "Fly
weird.
Me to
I
the
mean,
Moon."
No, you know what? I was more, as I was younger, I used to really listen to his ballad songs. I fell in love with his ballad songs, and then it grew on
Yeah.
me. But I mean, Autumn in New York was one of my favorites. But I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
I for a ballad
Oh,
song,
yeah.
and I mean, there's so
Yeah.
many, but I mean, just I mean, there was a couple of songs, he didn't like, but I mean, the majority of his music, I, I grew into it and I understood it and I knew where he was coming from when he was singing those songs.
Yeah. You could feel, when he would do a ballad, about a man who was, smashed or there was something going on, you could feel it in the way he would sing, the way
Not
he would
only,
present it, the
and
way he would
you
phrase
know
it.
why, Gary? He lived that cycle. Whatever that he was singing,
Yeah.
whether it be an David Gardner breakup or when he was down on his luck and when his voice went out on, he went through
Yeah.
that trial and he would, when he would sing a ballad song, he was probably thinking about those times.
Yeah. Well, I think don't we all as performers? I mean, I I I've performed for many, many years, either well, mostly as a stand-up comic or impressionist, um, but don't we all kind of remember Jay Leno, who's a friend? He still spends money like he had nothing, like he has nothing. He's still, as my grandfather used to say, fish hooks in his pockets. Although he's very generous with other people, but he wears the denim because it's cheap, and it doesn't cost him anything. He has never forgotten where he came from. I think that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. No, he's
Um,
good.
I don't
He's
think
good.
any I don't think any of us, Tony, ever forget where we come from. I mean, Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, nice little place to grow up in the 60s, sheltered from the rest of the world, but it's a poor community. I mean, it is a poor community. It's an old factory town and coal mining town. And there are parts of Pennsylvania, Ohio, and West Virginia, and et cetera, where people never forget where they come from. And I think that's important. A lot of people do forget where they come from when they
They
make
do.
big time money.
They
They start
do.
throwing
They
it.
do. They lose that, and then
Uh,
sometimes they feel like they were better. They don't want to bring it up, but you have to because that's your
yeah,
roots
yeah,
and that's what you're made out of.
yeah. I think so. Did you start performing as a singer before you started doing your tribute show to Frank?
I was a late comer into the entertainment business. I always loved to sing, but
Mhm.
it's a tough racket. Let me really it's such a hard racket to be in, and a lot of people get discouraged and they drop out, even though they had talent, or a lot of people just
Yeah.
just don't want to do it. You have in the entertainment business, and you probably know this as much as I do. You have to. It's got to be a full time thing
Yeah.
to succeed. You have to have.
Yeah.
It's got to be a full time. It just can't be a weekend thing or whatever. One day here, you have to do it full time, and it's especially if you have a family. You have it's hard for you to leave your regular job and do this full time because you don't know what's going to happen. But I did. I left my full-time job and I went into this. I knew I loved music and I loved what I did. And if you know that, you
Mhm.
just got and believe me, I worked my way up. I worked in places where there were pizzerias and you get $50 a night and two slices. And you just
Yeah.
if you're into it and you're gonna make something out of yourself. You got to keep in there and stay in there and and and
Yeah.
and get to the level where you want to. And that's what happened.
Yeah, I think, as a comedian and, somewhat of an actor, I can I can agree with you 100%. I remember doing comedy for almost nothing just to get up and do it, just to be on stage. It's like, a friend of mine in Los Angeles said he tells young actors, "If you want to act, go out and act." If you want to be accomplished in this business, go out and do it. But don't ever lose sight of the fact that it's one of the hardest things in the world to do. The show business will chew you up and spit you out faster than they can drink a glass of water. It's a tough business, and when you go to LA, and I was in LA for 10 years, and believe me, and I have friends of mine, my buddy Ray Abruzzo from The Sopranos, he hasn't worked in a while. I was on the phone with my dear friend Morgan Fairchild this morning because I have to talk to her tomorrow afternoon, and we were talking about the audition process that's going on nowadays. Well, it's the same thing for nightclubs, and it's the same thing for singers and comedians. It's a rough road, and if people don't dedicate it to it 24/7,
Absolutely. Yeah, I
they
mean,
can't
without a
make
doubt.
it,
You can't make it.
you know?
And that's what you have to do. I mean, believe me, New York is full of them, and you know it. And
Mhm.
it's just you got to. All I can say is, if you love it, do it, and do it 100%,
Yeah,
and do it full time, and see what happens. You know, hopefully it's good
yeah. I
things.
mean, yeah, because you don't wanna have any regrets. I mean, we all have a few regrets in life, but, generally, they're very few, as the song would say. But you don't want to turn around and say, I coulda, woulda, shoulda. And in reality, all right, now I tried acting, found out very quickly I'm okay at it. I mean, I'm okay, but nothing that I was ever going to earn a living at. I mean, Bud Friedman even said that you're a funny guy, but you're not going to make a living at it. And that's why I got involved going back to what my basis was radio. I mean, I started out at the University of Miami, and then I went to WIOD and Power 96, Y100, all these other radio stations. And I've always been an on-air personality kind of a person. I walked away from it for 25 years, and I didn't realize how much the business had changed. But yeah, you've got to love what you do because
Nothing
this
beats a
can
try
be
but
a
a
very
failure.
cruel. Yeah. And if you show me a failure, I'll show you somebody who's never tried, you know? I mean, that's what my grandfather always used to say. When did you start doing Frank Sinatra? When was the first time you went on stage, your first gig doing Frank? And do you remember where and how it went?
Yeah, I used to do, back in the early '70s, which was, very helpful for me. I mean, I used to go out to these bars, when karaoke started going out, being
Yeah,
a
yeah.
big thing out there. And you would meet a lot of people, and you would get up and sing, and that's how I got my stage feet a little wet. Getting on stage and
Yeah.
and singing a Sinatra track or a song. And I used to go every week. Sometimes I go once, sometimes I go 2 or 3 times a week, depending on my schedule and work. But I knew that's
Mhm.
what I wanted to be, and that introduced me to being on stage and performing. And the more I, performed, the more I got used to it. And my first paying job was probably at a restaurant, a pizzeria. I sang at a pizzeria, and I did like, maybe back then we used to do, God, it's from 6 to 9, 3 hours of singing, and maybe take a break here and have a slice of pizza, make my $50
Mhm.
and go home. But I did that for
Yeah.
quite a long time. So yeah, it felt good. People were eating, but I kept on singing. But even though you didn't think they were listening, they were still listening. So, and they
Oh,
would
yeah.
come
Oh,
up
yeah,
to after the show. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Just like my friend would say, you can't compete against the T-bone steak. I mean, if somebody's eating a T,
No,
they're going to
you
eat that T.
can't.
They're going to eat that
No,
T-bone.
no, you can't. And if you put eggplant parmesan in front of me, I'm sorry,
You're
Tony.
done.
As
Yeah.
beautiful as you are, and as a good friend that we are to each other, I'm done for the evening, man. Particularly if it, and the girl that
Eggplant. Yeah,
originally when I was a kid, eggplant parmesan. Oh, well, I'm Greek boy, and I love Mediterranean food. So it's like,
I love
as a matter of
eggplant.
fact, my
Yeah.
brother's over there. My brother Greg is over in Greece now with his
Was it
family enjoying time. Yeah,
nice?
well, Father Greg is over there with, he's taking time off from the church
Oh, okay.
uh, as we move forward. But
Mhm.
you were mentioning a few times your job. What were you doing back then that
Yeah.
sustained
Good
your
question.
life? I mean, paying your mortgage and rent.
Yeah. So I was in the antique business.
Really?
Yeah, what we would do is I was in partners with a gentleman from Northeast Philadelphia, and we would buy out estates. Someone who passed
Yeah.
away, we would buy out the whole entire state, and we would auction off the property, and we would auction off the estate. We would buy the estate, put it in an auction. Um, and basically that's what I did for years. I did estate work. I did. I was used to go to a lot of auctions, sales, Freeman's art auction, fine art, uh, furniture, and stuff like that. And I used to. We used to, like I said, we used to, and I used to do appraisals too on personal property. So when
Cool. Well, it's yeah,
the
yeah.
late '80s came around, they had people start selling their stuff online. Like they had eBay started, and they
Mhm.
the road show and everything like that. So people weren't selling us their furniture in China, whatever. So I got out of that and I started singing on the side as I was as I was phasing out the furniture. Left the furniture and
Mhm.
then did my performing full time.
Oh, well, you have
Yeah.
something in common with my mother. My mother was an interior decorator.
Okay.
Interior
All right.
designer, excuse me, as she would actually put it. You have been producing, besides performing, and you also produce
Yep.
Sinatra the musical, and you also produce, I believe, if I have this right, That's Life with the six-piece band, and that has to be a kick and a half. When you're getting ready to do either now, the musical is probably everything is set from A to Z, I presume,
Yeah. It is.
but but excuse me, when you're doing That's Life and you're doing with the band, and you're doing maybe for a corporation or you're doing it at a nightclub because you have performed all over the place, which we will discuss a little bit later on as the program unfolds. By the way, joining me today here on Main Street is Tony Sands. He's a performer. He's a tribute artist to Frank Sinatra, as well as a producer for many, many shows. Gary Allen with you. Hope you're enjoying the show so far. Um, how often do you interchange songs? I mean, take this one out, put that one in, take this one out. And do corporations, when you do corporate shows, do they specifically ask? I mean, there are standards that you have to keep in a show that are
Right.
Frank's. There has to be,
Yeah.
if you're in
Yeah.
New York, if you don't do New York, you're going to get booed off the stage. But are there, how often do you interchange the lineup, the card,
Yeah,
every
and that's a
so
good
often, every
question.
once in a
I
while?
change it. Yeah, and I'll keep the standards in there, the ones that everyone wants to hear.
Yeah.
There's we have I have a great musical director. He writes a lot of charts for me, and also a gentleman, Gene White in New York, who I'm sorry, in Las Vegas, who writes charts for me. So we have quite a few charts of Sinatra's songbook, and I'll change them. We'll try new songs, or I'll fit another song in there, take one out, take two out, and put
Right.
something different in there just to change it up. Yeah, and I like doing that because it keeps the show new. Um,
Hmm.
come Christmas time, we do a Christmas show, and we'll add some Christmas songs to our Rat Pack show or to the Sinatra show. So yeah, I do that, and I always like to work on new songs, new Sinatra charts. So yeah, we're constantly changing. Sometimes we'll keep it to the same if everything's going great, or and then we'll, maybe the following month we'll change a couple songs out of it. So yeah, there's times we'll change it around.
If you want to find out more about Tony Sands, go to tonysands.com. You can also catch him on Facebook, Tony Sands, tonysands.com. It's his website. You can check out where he's going to be appearing. You can check out any information about him, and you can get a hold of him to book him. Terrific act. He and the guys that do the Rat Pack. I had the pleasure of seeing the Rat Pack at one time, although I don't know if you're aware of this or not. They did not like being called the Rat Pack.
I heard
They
about
didn't
that.
like
Yeah,
it
it was.
at all. It
Yeah, that was a name that was given to Humphrey Bogart, I think, back in the day, of Sinatra and Dean Martin, and I think it was either his wife mentioned something. This looks like a real rat pack here, and then it stuck. I don't know how
Yeah,
true
and
it
they
is,
did
but it's
not
what I
they
read.
did well, there's also a story that some of the silent screen actors had a Rat Pack kind of a thing going, and so Sinatra didn't wanna copy that, and he wanted to do his own thing. But if you I'm sure, and I know you've performed at the Tropicana in Las Vegas, as well as other places, the Ritz-Carlton in Philadelphia, the one club at Harvard. Went to Ha The closest I ever got to Harvard was walking by. I mean, they would never accept me. My sister went there, but they would never accept me as a student. That's for sure. But um, but yeah, he Frank was kind of an interesting character. For a lot of people who don't know this, and we'll get back to the act. If it wasn't for Frank and Dean and a few others, the black barrier in the hotels in Las Vegas, as far as performers staying there, besides performing there, would have never been broken except for Frank and Dean and a few other performers. I mean,
Yep,
they really, Frank was like incensed. He told him at the Sands, if Sammy can't sleep here, I'm not performing here. And
that's what
Dean
he
backed
said.
him up 100%,
Yeah, and I think
you know?
it started with Sammy. It started with a lot of the band members, and uh, even in Florida was the same situation. And he was, such a powerful entertainer, and the people loved him that they knew if they didn't have Sinatra, they really, they didn't have anything. So, especially back in the '60s, so he got, he did the right thing, and everybody admired him for that. So good for him.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. When you are putting together, as I said earlier, and then interchanging one song from another and taking this out or taking that out, but when you're initially putting together a show,
Hmm.
when will you start rehearsing? I mean, do you rehearse or practice every day?
No,
Your
and I used
voice,
to, and I should. I mean, it's I'll it's such a busy schedule. There's a lot of times where I can't have time to myself where I want to, just practice or whatever. But I've been doing it for over 25 years, so. But
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it works when I get on stage. It works, and we'll go through some tempos different songs, and basically that's all I need. Thank God, and it works. So yeah, um, I try to practice, but there's times where I can't practice. I'll sing in the
Have you
car.
ever sought out have you ever sought out vocal
I
training,
did, I did,
breathing, etc.?
yeah, and it didn't help. No, actually, it
It
probably
didn't.
helps other people. No, because I think you know Uh, it's tough to I know basically my intake and my note, how long I can hold a note and what I can do.
Mhm.
And I think, I took some lessons and they were okay, but I don't think I ever used any of the exercises. I
Yeah.
think I got more exercising my vocal cords, and they got stronger when I worked at the Tropicana in Atlantic City, and I signed a contract for a year, and they extended it 2 more years. So I was 2.5 more years. So I was at the Tropicana for 3.5 years. I used to sing
Wow.
5 days a week, and 3 and was it 3 or 4 hours? 4 sets of 40 minutes a day, which is a lot of
Wow.
singing, or 45 minutes, a
Mhm.
15-minute break. And that's
Mhm.
exercise, and I think that helped my vocal cords build up to a point where I think I'm good for a little bit.
Yeah,
So,
and
yeah, I mean,
also
yeah,
doing
I think singing helps out. And that helped me out a lot.
yeah. Well, doing going through what you have gone through, working here, working there, doing these long stints at a hotel, 40-minute show here, 15 off, 40, 15. I think it also helps build the stamina within your mind of your capabilities of what you can and cannot do. It's like every actor should learn how to do improv because it really brings in a certain stability in your acting that, okay, I've been trained to do this improv, so I can go left, right, up, down, inside, and which, I managed to take some improv classes myself, but I think it helps you. And I think it also helps with a singer. The more they're on stage, the more confident, the more,
But
the more
without a doubt.
yeah,
Yeah,
you know,
I can
how many,
tell when I have a layoff. I'm laid off for, well, I took 2 months off. I took July and August, and getting back on
Mhm.
stage, it's good. I mean, you're like, but you get a little jittery, and and those 2 months, you took a break, because getting back into the swing of it takes a little bit. There's a little bit of work there. You got to work it, and you got to make sure you're doing the right
Yeah.
thing on stage. And so yeah, I mean, I could tell when I took 2 months off. I could tell getting back on stage. This is my first time in. It'll sink in, but
Yeah.
here we go. Yeah. So yeah, absolutely.
Tony Sands is our guest here on Main Street this afternoon. Tony's not only a performer, a tribute artist to Frank Sinatra, but a producer as well. We're going to start talking about some of his shows as we kind of have been a little bit here and there. Um, when you get ready to do a show,
Mhm.
how far out do you start rehearsing? Either by
Uh,
yourself or like when you do
yeah,
when you do the 6-piece band. I mean, you got to rehearse a few days ahead of time with them anyway,
yeah,
but how
yeah.
yeah.
It'll probably be like a week before. We'll do like a run through. The band that I get all these wonderful musicians from Washington D.C. They're top
Uh-huh.
notch guys, and we basically when we do our shows, they're basically the same crew, so they know the show, they know it well,
Yeah.
they know all the shows I produce, and they're a good fit. So I know what to expect from them. They know what to expect from me, and it all works out. So we really, unless we're putting in a brand new or 2 or 3 brand new songs, then we have to take the time and make sure we have time to go through that a couple of times to make sure when we get on stage and do it, it's perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, I
we'll
mean,
do it a week out.
yeah, yeah, because I've worked with some big time entertainers, and the more they work with the band, the more they work with the people that are with them, the more the improv can be during the show to make it funny, to have fun with the audience and stuff, or turn around and say something to the band, and the band will, blah 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 blah, come back with something. I mean, it's always good when you have a familiar relationship going on with the band instead of just one night here, one night there, and they don't know who you are or what you're going to do or what you're going to say, and you can't convey that with one rehearsal or two rehearsals,
Right,
that's for sure.
right, right.
But
And,
but
and
over a period of time, it's great to get to know each other.
yeah, and then, you know what? It's like family, kind of. We're all good friends. It's all
Yeah,
business, no drama, and we all get along. I think that's the most important thing, Gary, in the entertainment business,
yeah,
especially when you're working with a
yeah,
band or 2 other cast members. You
yeah,
got to get along because if you don't, and I see it in a lot of performers up on stage. If you don't get along, you're going to have problems. Not only are you going to feel uncomfortable, the audience they can feel what's going on. When you're having fun on
yeah,
stage, they're having fun out in the audience. So you try to have fun all the time. We do.
yeah. Do you have a closing song when you do That's Life, the music, or Sinatra the musical? Do you have one
Yeah.
song that
So
you always
we
close
we
every
we
show with?
yeah we say my way to the end. You
Oh,
know, my way, and then we'll close it off with New York, New York. Basically,
you know
so
how
we
My
get
Way
every.
came about, right?
Oh, I think Paul Anka wrote that, right? Correct.
Yep. They
And I
were
think it was
having Sinatra. Yeah, go ahead.
no, no, go.
No, Frank Sinatra and Paul Anka were having dinner in Miami Beach. And Frank Sinatra said, "I've known you for how many years since you came out of Canada? Uh, and you've never written a song for me." And the discussion began with Frank was thinking about retiring. He said, "I've been at this game for a long time. I'm thinking about retiring, enjoying my family, enjoying life, blah, 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 blah. But you've never written a song for me." So Paul Anka went back to Canada, wrote this song, called up Frank a couple of days later. Frank is back in LA. He listens to the song. A couple of months pass by. Anka gets a phone call from Frank in the studio, just recorded My Way. And he said, "Kid, I think I'll stick around a few more years." I
I
mean,
think I
that's
heard
pretty
that
much
story.
how that
Yep,
song,
yep, that's
yeah, that's
right.
pretty much how that song came about,
And he wrote it in a couple hours,
So
didn't he? Yeah,
yeah, something like that. It's amazing. I've been around a few songwriters, and some of the songs that have made it big time, they write in a very short period of time, and other ones that they agonize over sometimes go nowhere. I mean, absolutely
exactly.
nowhere. I mean, there
Yeah,
must be
oh yeah.
some philosophy in there somewhere, where
Jimmy
where
Webb. Yeah,
where it happens. Yeah, and where it happens and where it doesn't. Um, you also do a show. You produce a show with the Rat Pack. And I know that that can't be easy because there's how many Rat Packs all over the country, but you
A
book
lot of
an
them.
awful lot of shows, you do an awful lot, and you got 3 guys, well, you and the 2 other gentlemen that hang with you. Talk about the show, talk about the gentleman that you've got with you.
Yeah. So, the show it's such a thrill to work with these guys, and I produced the show, and these guys have been with me for at least 10 years. And what's what's good about our show, and like there's a lot of good Rat Pack show, but this one stands out from the rest. Is it's a well-oiled machine. Everybody knows what to do. There's no dead spots. There's comedies. There's great songs and great entertainers. I mean, I got a great D. Martin, Robert Cabela, who's a South Philadelphia
Mhm.
guy, but he's been with me for 10 years, and he does a fantastic job. He's been performing since he was 17 years old at Palumbo's. But a great D. Martin, has a great voice. And my Sammy is Jeff Foote, who's the youngest out of all of us, and does a great job with Sammy and tap. Actually he teaches tap, so we have a portion of the show where we invite Sammy on stage, and he taps for about 5 or 6 minutes, just completely
Mm,
straight tap, and people love that because that's what Sammy did. So we put that all together in the pot, and we come out I think one of the best Rat Pack shows on the East Coast, if not the best. And like I said, I produced that, and played in a lot of casinos with that Rat Pack, and it's well known. And we all get it. You know what? We all get along. We all have fun, and we
yeah.
give it 100% every time we're up there. So it works. It works.
When you were putting together the Rat Pack, uh, I'm sure as you did with Frank, you did your research. I mean, there is nothing that used to drive me crazier than have a tribute artist or a lookalike uh, that didn't know anything about the performer that they were portraying. Nothing. 0.
Right.
And it
Right.
used to drive me crazy. How it'd be like when I was doing Jay Leno on stage. If somebody come up to me and asked me about cars, I was kind of lost a little bit, but then I start picking up on little things here and there, buying magazines and reading, and I started doing my research. But I knew Jay since I was 9 years old, so it wasn't like I didn't know anything about him. But do you find that research pays off big
Oh
time?
my
Because
God.
I'm sure
Oh
they
my God. Yeah,
ask you
I'm
questions
glad you
that are
brought that
just
up.
yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up because I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why, Gary. There are so many, and I mean so many, bad Rat Pack shows out there that they
Yeah.
ruin it for the handful of good Rat Pack shows. And I don't mean that to put anybody down, but I mean that there's guys that just put 3 guys together and they call themselves the Rat Pack. And there's so many out there, and they ruin it for the good guys. Thank God I got a name where people can say, "Oh, yep, that's Tony Sands Rat Pack." They know to come to the show, but they ruin it for the good rap, and they it just gets lost in a mix, and it's you feel embarrassed to watch it. But yeah, I mean, we we um we do our research, and we all get together, and all the characters know their part, all the cast know their part, and they know what to do, and it just it's all orchestrated, and it's all timed, and it's all one thing after no dead spots, and it's all entertainment, and people love it. And it just
We're yeah, yeah.
I'm not
We're
saying
talking to
it to
Tony
say, but
Sands.
it just works.
We're talking to Tony Sands. If you want to find out more about Tony and the different shows that he produces, go to tonysands.com. Um, you can find out more about Tony, about the performers. You can find out about where they're going to be performing in the not too distant future. Tony is not only a performer, a tribute artist to Frank Sinatra, but he's also a producer. Um, we're going to talk about your Liza show in a little bit, start spreading the news.
Mhm.
But what if God came to you tomorrow and he said, "Okay, Tony, by the way, if he does, give me a call, will you? Because I've been wanting to talk to him for a long time." Uh, if God came to you tomorrow and said, "Okay, Tony, you can only wear one hat," which one would it be?
As a performer,
would it be the performer, the producer, the tribute artist, performer? I mean, what would
You
it be?
know, well, it would have to be the performer, and it would have to be the American Songbook, and it would have to be Sinatra's songbook. I mean, how I was blessed, Gary, was you know, people going, "Oh my God, how'd you get your voice to sound like Frank?" And it just comes out that
Yeah,
way. I don't try to change it. I don't try to. There's no fake effects on my voice. Just as that, this is the way it comes out. So I'm just very comfortable in that vocal range, and very comfortable with the Sinatra songbook. And that's what I do. I mean,
yeah,
I love what I do, and it's more of a love, and it's not like I'm working for the vocals. It's just there. It just comes out naturally.
yeah, yeah. I think that all the great singers that I've ever come across, the real person or someone who's doing a tribute to them, if they really key in and really listen with their ear and get it, it can be an absolutely wonderful, wonderful experience
Yeah,
for people.
yeah, yeah.
Um, I mean, it truly can because let's be honest. I mean, the three gentlemen are gone; they're not coming back, at least that I'm well aware of. Anyway, I mean, um, but the only way they're going to see this is either through movies or listen to
Hmm.
CDs or records or whatever, or going to
Right.
see a show like you put together and produce, with you. I know you're a married gentleman. I know that. Does your wife help you with the bookkeeping and all the other stuff, keeping up with things?
She's right in the next room, so I got to make sure I'm saying the right thing. No, she, she does. She does.
Said like I'm
She
like said like a true married man. Yes.
Yeah, I couldn't have. I can't do it without her. She does all my emails and all the promotional stuff that goes out on Facebook and promoting in
Yeah.
different areas of the show. And you need somebody like that. I mean, believe me, I have trouble just getting up there. It's not trouble, but it's just a job. Me getting up there singing to do what she does. I couldn't have done it myself.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. So
Well, you're going to have to take her out to dinner tonight for that statement. You know that, don't
I'm
you?
probably going to have to. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We're actually gonna go to Nashville. We're actually gonna go to Nashville at the end of the month, and I'm gonna take her there's a
Yeah.
big restaurant out there. It's a Sinatra restaurant in Nashville. So,
Right.
this gentleman who bought the place had just had it for about 3 years. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful place, and it's got all Sinatra pictures and whatever, and it's
Oh,
all
cool.
Frank stuff, and they got a piano bar and stuff so we're gonna have dinner out there. We're gonna spend a couple days in Nashville at
Oh,
the end of the
wow.
month. Yeah.
Yeah. I've only been to Nashville a few times. I went there with Kenny Rogers, I think. Was it Kenny? Yeah, I think it was Kenny. I went there with him.
Okay.
His opening act got sick, and that's when he had one. And he called me up because I had worked with him before, and he said, "Hey, can I fly you out?" I said, "Sure." And he sent his private airplane for me, and I performed there. I had friends there. The one thing I was shocked about Nashville, there's a lot of counties outside of Nashville that are dry counties. They don't
Oh,
serve
really?
liquor.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
they
And
have
we're gonna
no
go
liquor, no liquor.
I don't take before I forget, we're gonna go on a tour at the tour of, Jack Daniel's Distillery, in Nashville.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, behave yourself, would you, Tony? I mean, for God's
I
sakes,
will. I
I
will.
mean, really behave yourself. Let's let's talk about your start spreading the news. You do that with a young lady, and I have her name here. Where is her name? Uh,
Whitney Grace.
start spread. Whitney Grace. Yes, I'm sorry. My vision isn't too great these days, and I have to write everything with a felt pen. But so, how did you stumble upon Miss Grace? And did you have to audition a number of female singers? Number one, does she look like Liza?
She does. She does. How I got to meet her was at the Cape Cabaret, which is located in Cape Coral. We do 4 shows
Hmm.
there a year. It's a beautiful place. sits right in Cape Coral. They have a room that holds at least 300 people. So we do 4 shows there a year with the Rat Pack, and we mostly sell out each show. I went there because a friend of mine told me there was going to be a Streisand and Eliza Minnelli uh, female impersonators that are going to be
Hmm.
there. So I heard of her name, and I figured, well, let me stop by, and I did. And when she got on stage, I just captured the audience. She's such a, I mean, such a great performer. She not only does she sing like Liza, but she acts like her. I mean, she's on stage. She her motions and her acting, because she
Yeah.
is an actress, just shows on stage. And I knew as soon as I seen her, I said I have to put a show together. And I produced a show called Liza and Frank Start Spreading the News, and we performed at Delray
Yeah.
Beach Playhouse and many theaters in Florida.
Well, that's where we're going next with that, because I live in Florida and I'm hoping that I'll be able to get to see you before too long when you come on
Okay.
down this way, because I don't live that far from where you are. You do perform. You have performed in a lot of hotels. The Ritz Carlton in Philadelphia, I believe, was one spot. Tropicana in Atlantic City. I did say the Tropicana in Vegas, but I think I was misspoke there, right?
Yeah, Atlantic City. I was there for 3.5 years.
Yeah, yeah, and you've also performed in a number of other places, the club at Harvard University. Um, do you have a favorite venue of all of the places you performed, or is there a venue that you really want to perform at? I mean, for me, it was Caesar's Palace, and I finally got there. But
My
is
favorite
there a
my
favorite
favorite
venue that?
venue, yeah, my favorite venue was Harris Casino in Atlantic City.
Ah,
I love that room. It's a great room to perform at, and so is the Tropicana. But Harris had something about it. I mean, they just, I don't know. It was just everything was great. The
yeah,
entertainment
they're a
agency,
class organization.
it was a class organization, and there was, we were there for,
Yeah,
I think, a month or so, a month and a half. I forget. We did a
yeah.
long stretch here, but Harris Casino was one of my favorites. There was so many other places, but I think Harris is the highlight. One of the casino jobs that we did.
Yeah. Harrah's is a wonderful organization. I did some work for them in Kentucky, in uh,
Okay.
in Louisville,
Okay.
and Chicago was performing there that night, and then I was doing a show the next night with some other people. But
Hmm.
yeah, they really do
Yeah.
treat you
Great
well.
place.
It's
Great
like
people.
you know, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a venue though that you want? Is there your whale venue
Yeah.
that you want
Yeah.
to be in before it's all said and done?
Yeah. Yeah. That would be in Florida, and I'll give you another hint. Miami.
Okay, the Fountain Blue.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
I love their room. That's where those guys performed. I would love to do a show there. And if
yeah.
you go into Fountain Blue, you'll see, as soon as you walk in the lobby, you'll see all the Sinatra Rat Pack stuff along the walls. And I mean, these pictures are huge, and that just brings you right into that ballroom where they performed at. It wasn't that
They
big
were
of a
going to tear
ballroom,
that
maybe
down.
500, 600.
No,
I
it's
know.
not. No, but they were going to tear that down and rebuild it, and the city fathers got together and said, "No, no, 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 no. There's a history with the Fountain Blue Hotel. I mean, it goes back way before James Bond did Goldfinger in there. But yeah, there's a history with the Fountain Blue Hotel. I've
Oh
been
yeah.
there many, many times to see different performers perform. Well, yeah, I grew up in Hollywood, which is just right up the road.
Right.
And I used to spend more time in Miami than I ever did in Hollywood after I reached a certain age. And then when I came home from the military, because I went to the University of Miami, so I spent a lot of time in Miami. And of
Nice.
course, it's a lot different now than it was back when I grew up. The whole South Florida has changed tremendously so, but I could see why you'd want to perform at the Fountain Blue. And then there was also up the road a little bit, the Eden Rock was there.
Eden
And
Rock. Yeah.
when you were talking about my uncle earlier, he was popular when a lot of those little hotel motels that were along North Miami Beach were popular. Now they're all big high-rise condos
Yeah.
and everything
Yeah.
else. They're
Yeah.
almost gone. They're
Hmm.
almost all gone. But I mean, it is what it is. I mean, the entertainment business is a rough business, and people come, people go. And I mean, Tubby had a heck of a time with his career. But yeah, I could see why you'd want to be at the Fontainebleau Hotel. I mean, the only time I was there as a visitor, I never performed there. I did see certain people perform there. But yeah, it is something else. But you do have a place in Florida,
Yep. I have a
and
place in Florida.
you have performed all over Florida.
Hmm.
Um, how do the now compared to New York or Philly or Atlantic City or New Jersey or Chicago or wherever? How do the audiences stack up compared to a Florida audience? How do they treat you? And are they looking for something different from you than other audiences might?
You know, uh, it, it, Florida's like a mixed bag. You know that. I mean, when we do shows, we have people from Michigan, we have people from New York, we have people from Florida. So it's a mixed bag of the audience, and which is cool because we get to meet a lot of people from a lot of different states. And
Yeah.
I think on the East Coast, well, you have your East Coast and you have your West Coast of Florida, as you know.
Yes.
I think the West Coast is Midwest, and they're really easy crowd to work, and I think you got to work a little harder for the West or for the East Coast. Now, because you have your New Yorkers, your people from Philadelphia, East Coast people. They want to hear the real thing, and
Yeah.
which is cool. And both sides, I enjoy working both sides. So you get a little bit of the West. You get the West Coast. It's a little more easier out there. And the East Coast, you just got to make sure you buckle up because they want to hear the real deal.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay,
yeah, because most of the people on the East Coast of Florida are from Philly, New York, New Jersey,
right.
you know, from the eastern part of the country. Midwesterners,
Hmm.
they usually go to Phoenix and out that way. We've got a few minutes left to go, about 3 or 4 minutes to go. Um, and we're talking to Tony Sands. He's been with us for a good part of the hour here. TonySands.com. Go check him out where he's performing, and an amazing performer, absolutely amazing. And if he has his wife with him when you're checking him out, say hello, tell her thank you for all you do for him. Because without her, hey, behind every great man is a wonderful woman. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
I had one at one time too. Unfortunately, she's not with us anymore. Um, how has Tony Sands grown from the guy in the antique business to the tribute artist to the producer? Uh, how have you changed? How have you grown?
God, it's well. First of all, it's a blessing for what I'm doing. I never thought I'd be where I'm at today. I've
Yeah,
grown into a person where I just enjoy life. I love what I do. I thank God that I can do this every day and to go as long as I
yeah,
can. And I'm blessed. So I mean, I couldn't ask for anything else. Just for my happiness, my health, everything's good, and I love what I do, and I can still do it. So I'm blessed with that, and that's all I actually need. That's all I need.
well, you are luckier than most because, as I said earlier in the program, if you do what you love to do, you never work a day in your life. You never feel stressed out, although sometimes I guess we all feel stressed out about one thing or another. But if you can sweat the small stuff compared to what this business is like, as I said, um, you know, and you have certainly made a mark for yourself. You're a wonderful person. And I'm so glad we were able to get you back. I was supposed to have Tony on some time ago, but something happened that caused it not to happen. It was on my end, not his. And I am so pleased to finally had him on the program. Hopefully, maybe Holly Ferris will join us at one point or another. I know that she's a good friend of yours as well as with mine.
Hmm.
And so hopefully we can get and do this again. I'd love to get you and the guys on too at the same time
Yeah, I
and
gotta I gotta
talk
round them
about,
up.
about everything.
Absolutely,
Got to round them up. Be careful when you
round
say
them up.
roundup nowadays, because that can be anything on earth. We've been talking to Tony Sands. He is a performer, tribute artist, He is a producer. Check him out, TonySands.com. He is something else again. And speaking of which, I want to thank all of you out there for joining us. And you are something else for joining us every week. And next week, we're going to have an even better time than we've ever had before in the past, even though Morgan Fairchild was with us last week and Tony's with us this week. We have Dee Wallace joining us next week. She's, you know her from ET. She played the mom. And I'm really looking forward to having her on, and as I am all my guests, because they all become friends over a short period of time. So until we meet again, would you please take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and watch over each other, and ask God for a little peace on earth. Take care and goodbye.